It's nice of you guys to join me again. I'm so grateful to have you here. I know it's been a few weeks. It's been more because I've actually been having a lot of pain and stuff, and turns out I had gallstones, and they had to remove my gallbladder. Interesting. Well, actually, probably not very interesting. But that was kind of the gist of it. Anywho, if you want a full story on it, feel free to ask. I'm totally willing to share more about it and stuff, but yeah. But for today, I just wanted to share a video on what I do for my Bible reading, kind of a thing. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna switch this now, and we can get started. Okay. And here we have my Bible reading plan. As you can see, there's a little square for each book of the Bible. This one's Colossians. It's the short form version of the name. And then it tells me how many chapters there is in the book. Like Matthew has 28, Colossians got 4, Galatians has 6, so on and so forth. I've also color-coded. Blue is all of November, and I did December, I did orange, and I did January in purple, and I'm doing February in brown. I haven't colored in yet. I have read some February stuff, but I haven't finished marking it in yet and stuff. But yeah, so that's kind of the idea there. And it tells me the book title, so this is Philippians. It tells me how many chapters, the start date, the finish date. And then I do it like this. Again, book title, start, finish date. And then I color it in. And I have each square with their own chapter. And I go through this the whole way through the Bible. Like here, I only read part of it in December, and the other part was in January. But yeah, as you can see, I just go through the whole Bible. Oh, and here it says canceled, but that's because I already read Jeremiah, which is right there. And yeah. So I'll just quickly flip through these. This one I already read Romans, so I just changed it to Jude there, and we went all the way down to Revelations. Yeah, and then so that's how I track it. And as far as reading the Bible, I'm currently chapter 26 of Exodus. But there's something cool I wanted to show you here. So this is chapter 14 of Exodus. It says the Pharaoh approached the Israelites. This is when the Israelites had just gotten out of Egypt, and they were camped by the Red Sea, but they had not yet crossed over. So Pharaoh was approaching them. The Israelites were told to move on through the sea on dry ground so that the Egyptians would follow them. And here it says that they did just that. The Israelites went through on dry ground. The Egyptians pursued them into the sea, and the Egyptian army was thrown into confusion. And then they wanted to get away from the Israelites. And at daybreak, Moses had been stretching out his hand the whole time so that his people could cross. At daybreak, the water went back into place, and the Egyptians were fleeing toward it. So does that mean that the Egyptians were fleeing towards the sea? I don't know. I need to do some more studying on it, but it kind of seems like it, because they were fleeing toward it. And I have a feeling that it is the sea, and then it says the Lord swept them into the sea. So if the Lord swept them into the sea, does that mean that they were already in the sea, even though it was in the sea on the dry ground? Or does that mean that they were on the other side of the sea and they got pulled back, or they turned around and were fleeing from the Egyptians towards the sea and they did not make it cross again? And then it says that the Egyptians were found lying on the shore. I know that there were some that were in the sea, because it says here that the waters flowed back and covered the chariots and horsemen, and that had followed them into the sea, but nobody survived. So I have a feeling that there were some that went to the bottom of the sea, but there were some that were found on the shore. So, really cool thing. Thought it was interesting. But yeah, I just continue to read and then track. And the way I pick what I want to read is literally I just go like, okay, what do I want to read next? And here's the page again. So, like, you can see there's a lot of Old Testament still left. I usually prefer to read the Old Testament first because the Old Testament is harder to understand for me. And so I just like getting it more into that one first, so that I have an easier one at the end of reading through the Bible. But that's just me. I think I'm going to end up reading 1st and 2nd Kings next, mostly because that's where my church is reading right now. The pastor's reading through 1st Kings, in his sermons, and I think that's pretty cool. So I figured I might want to just read through that as well, so that I have an idea of what he's going to talk about and be able to pay more attention there. But yeah, that's all for me for today. So I hope you all have an awesome day. Enjoy.